Well, let's get down to business. I have actually been chomping at the bit when once I decided that I was going to do a commentary for this film. This will actually be my third time watching this film, and from what I've heard from the mouths of Belle Biv DeVoe, that 3 seems to be the lucky number from everyone that they've heard from. Have basically watched this film 3 times. So let's just rock right into this. I am actually excited to do this commentary. Like I said, once I thought about it and I said, I should do this. So let's just kick it. All right. So as the norm, I'll do my countdown. I'm going to hit play and you can just follow along with me. And we are, of course, going to do this in parts as it was shown on BET. So if you still have it on your TiVos or however you have it recorded, you can just, you still be in step with me. So in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, I am pressing play now. Okay, Home Again Tour, New Mexico, 1997. Bobby Brown. Alright, so Bobby Brown's on the stage now. Just give you the cue point. Dun, dun, dun. Ooh, okay. Oh! They say I'm crazy. Okay. Ah, man. So much could be said about this film, and I'm hoping that I can encapsulate everything in this project. And I do hope that if you're watching this, you've watched this already. Please don't be foolish enough to watch this first time with my voice underneath it. You have to completely enjoy this film. Anyhow, I was excited to watch this the first and second times, as I am excited to watch the third time with you guys, because I grew up with New Edition. Well, not grew up with New Edition, grew up with their music. Let's not get it twisted. So the actual concert at Madison Square Garden with Bobby Brown and Albie Shore, I went to that concert. So this is you'll get a commentary from my perspective. The BBD mute, the Poison's getting ready to kick in a few seconds. Poison. I actually enjoyed how they started this. Basically how Ish goes bad. Upon hearing the casting, which I think it was at one of the BET Award shows, when I heard that Brashear was going to be Michael Bivins, I thought, that was perfect. I thought that was a great move. Everyone is pretty much new to me, with the exception of Luke James, who is portrays Johnny Gill. Now, I do remember Bobby Brown saying, because after the film I was watching a lot of behind the scenes, and I'm sure they're getting a lot of views now, and I'm glad. Bobby Brown said that this wasn't actually a hose, it was a fire extinguisher. But yeah, I'm actually glad that I could actually watch a really good biopic that a younger audience now can come up and relate to, and now they're really, really, hungry to find out about New Edition. And these guys aren't deceased, and they're alive, and it's just awesome. I love he snatches his chain. This is what this was really about, me getting your chain. And credit to Abdul Williams, the writer, because he left everything on the court with this one, as they say. He did his research, and I love this opening. This montage sets up a lot of. It sets the whole thing up. When they start showing the record, the album covers, I was like, oh man, I think they're really going to go for it here. And there are a couple of scenes that kind of like, got me excited just in part one. And, as the story goes on, I will, chime in, of course. I like how they did this. And when they showed this, the Heartbreak album, I thought that was hot. I also recall, about a year ago, Mike Bivins was on The Breakfast Club, and he was talking about, written by Abdul Williams, directed by Chris Robinson. I'll get back to Chris Robinson in a second. He was talking about Orchard Park Projects, Boston, 1978. And we see Ricky Bell looking for his mother. Michael Bivins was talking about the movie, and how they were in, works, and how they were working on the casting. And now, I watched this and I'm like, wow, like they nailed it. They fucking nailed this. Slick. They said that Ricky Bell, he's like one of the original Mr. Sticky girls. Like if he was really trying hard to kick it to a female and you left alone, Ricky was going to get her. Now, I must introduce this cutie pie, who I'm really glad to see that she was in this film. This is Miss Lisa Nicole Carson, from Ally McBeal, which was a show on Fox some years back. And for some weird reason, I have this feeling that that show is probably going to come back like on Netflix or something for like a couple of episodes. I don't know why. Now, I like those little nods. Wait till you see where he winds up in 10 years. Who's going to be listening to hip hop in 20 years? I like this. I liked the introduction to Mike on the basketball court because, the information that I had back in the day on New Edition, he really liked playing basketball. And back in the day, what they used to do, I think they still do it, but more so like on the West Coast, they used to have basketball tournaments with celebrities, mostly hip hop and R&B singers. And New Edition and those guys were usually in those tournaments, and it could have been more East Coast based because a lot of hip hop came from the East Coast, and New Edition, of course, from the East Coast. But that's neither here or there. But it was just to say that Michael Bivins, has a good game. All those cats actually do. All right, so let's get back into this. I like this setup to Bobby Brown. It's so Five Heartbeats-esque almost. And if you haven't seen that film, you shouldn't even be asking what's the Five Heartbeats. You should be just putting that on your checklist on Netflix or Amazon or whatever. And wait, I just want to let this kind of set up a little bit. The first person I thought about when I saw this cat was Sinbad. His little part, they cast him so perfect because when you look at a younger Bobby Brown, the shape of his head is just like this cat, and like the nose and everything. The king of R&B, hilarious. Props out to Abdul Williams again because he made this story hilarious. He put a lot of comedic elements in it, thus making it even more charming and more interesting. Get off the stage. Yeah, now that cat definitely stepped on a box. So then he stepped down. This part had me rolling, man. When they bust him, he try to lie. He did his thing. Try lie. And the cat, of course, in the green is the actor from Strange Things. So he's on fire right now. He's on fire right now. And the funny thing is, Caleb McLaughlin. Of course, we all probably saw him first on, or most notably, on Stranger Things or Strange Things. I can never get it right. And I couldn't stand him because he was just always like, they made him like this angry little black kid. And that is hilarious, man. I know you want that money. Yeah, I couldn't stand him on Stranger Things, man. He was just nasty to everybody. And then he does this film, and I'd like completely like forget about Stranger Things, whatever. This setup is lovely too. Coming up, getting stuff. Yo, he just jumps off into the thing, in the mattress. Pow! Jumps up. Now, the way this is set up, because I didn't know that Ralph was into, martial arts like this, it really explains his level of discipline, that we see in the future. I'm curious. I want to know if this little girl that he wants to talk to is the same girl that holds the radio out the window and says, tells them that they're displaying their music. He looks like, what's this actress's name? He's a dead ringer to play her son. I just gotta get her name in my brain. She was in This Christmas. Already C blocking. He just played you. pushes him. I love you. Think you slick. Slick. Sharon Leo. That's who he resembles. Sharon Leo. He could easily portray her son in a film. She was in Dreamgirls, Why Are You Married, This Christmas. I remember This Christmas because I watched it over the holidays. And she's also in Supergirl. Just found out. This one looking like Fantasia Barrino. Now this setup to meet in Brooke, to me, sets up something that I might as well just kick it now. The fact that Mike is the one that approaches Brooke, sets the tone for me as a viewer, just for me, from what I know of New Edition, because every time they were on Soul Train, and you can probably YouTube this, when they were interviewed by Don Cornelius, Mike was usually the person doing the talking, so it got to a point that at least I realized, like, okay, so Ralph is the lead singer, but Mike is probably the oldest one, or the Wordsworth, because he's always talking for every interview and always just laying it down properly. And as you see in this film, it leads up to what we see. Wood Harris is one of the most underrated actors that's out here. And by the way, young Ralph is Jahai Winston. Or Jahi, I hope I'm pronouncing his name correctly. But he does look like Sharon Leo. Now, as I was first watching this, I didn't know the manager. I just knew the guy that was always in the music videos, and I was wondering if this was him. And as this story progresses, I realized that he was the guy that was in the If It Is in Love music video, from what I remember him from. And this for me sets up the next thought, which is the rec center, because This scene right here, that shot right there with the window and that fan, the second I saw that, I spazzed. Because I was like, oh shit, this looks just like the fucking rehearsal room for If It Isn't Love. I was like, wait a minute. Oh, the fan gives it away. I said, this has got to be. I said, I think they're going to probably set it up. I'm hoping that they're going to set up where they end up doing this video, you know. And sure enough, you know, it was what I thought it was. And they ended up giving me exactly what I was looking for. I love how they cut the poppy on that one. Hard. I love this setup. This is great. With the rehearsal and the performance montage. 6, 7, 8. Now I wonder if this was the actual song that they first started with and they actually performed. And I'm only asking that question because of music licensing, you know. It's funny because the first day of me watching this, I had this song in my head. Who are you again? You can't perform. Whoop. Now that's real training. It's like a Shaolin movie, man. He's smoking the stove like the ancient, Chinese teacher. It's like early version if this is in love with them drinking water. Tavares. New edition. Roscoe's Talent Night. And here they start ripping it up. Killer Cats. I really thought one of these scenes that Bobby was going to do something stupid, something selfish, or that at one point that one of them was going to trip. Because just the selection of shots, which is like my only pet peeve about this entire project, this entire film. I love that. Those are cute little suits, man. I mean, it's not like a big pet peeve. It's just I'm just curious. I mean, it could have been for budgetary. This is fucking funny. Ricky, I caught you. And it's funny. I had to watch it again to actually notice it. Did you hear it squeak? Mm-mm-mm. Mm-mm-mm-mm-mm-mm-mm. Yeah, as I was stating before, there are certain shots that are a little I wouldn't have done. But, if I was on a committee and this film was up for awards of some sort, I definitely, I wouldn't hold anything against it. It's just my personal selection. They do a couple of close-ups and some shots of their feet that just had me curious. Oh, FYI, I'm watching this without any commercials in it. Mine's is trimmed down. I trim mine's down. So now these guys are talking about kissing this girl. They're about to talk. I got some tongue. Tongue is tongue as far as I'm concerned. Windows. This dude kissing through the window screen. This is funny too. You don't know what you're talking about. And Ralph, don't do that again, man. It's nasty. Here we go. Nasty man. Those little subtleties are just fucking excellent, man, because he just sets up to tell him and then just interrupts so regular, like, and Ralph, don't do that no more, man. It's nasty. I would be very interested in seeing Wood Harris film with his brother, Stephen Harris. For those who don't know his brother was in. This is hilarious. Was on the show Boston Legal, which was prior to that was called The Practice, and he was also Wesley Snipes' right hand man, Goggles, in Sugar Hill. They got the perfect person to play this cat. I noticed they cast a lot of cats from Real Husbands of Hollywood, which was smart. He looks up, looking like friggin' Buckshot Shorty, or AKA Buckshot. Dr. Freeze, Phasons. Yo, at the end when he's like, what's he say? Maurice Starr runs this town. New edition. That's an old school step out. That's totally, dude. I know I've seen that before. like on some old OJs or whatever. I love how they have the people run up vintage Apollo. Now there's a shot. Um, I'll show you when it happens. It just gives me the feeling that they were gonna trip, but it doesn't happen. So it makes me question. Like, okay, not that, not that one. It just made me question, like, why was that shot chosen? But I mean, it could have been for aesthetically, it could have been for editing. But that's just the filmmaker in me. Bobby doing his own thing, and he's shaking his head. No, 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 no. Another little nuance that they have Brooke do, which is cool, is at the end when he fixes his collar. That's so cute. He's like very, very attentive to those kids. You know, person like a father or uncle. Like, he can't have you going outside looking like this. So he fixes his collar at the end. There's little nuances that they put in this film that's just humanizes the character so fucking much more, man. Shit that I haven't even thought of. A lot of things that I haven't even seen in films. I definitely thought that he was gonna go crazy and do his own thing, especially after seeing Brooke shake his head no. Now here comes the shot. It's coming up. All right, they showing them. Right there, that shot was so, because it was by the wire. I really thought, I said, oh, somebody's gonna trip. Mm-hmm, 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 mm-hmm. He sees that collar. Now, anytime somebody was popping at I know the Apollo, you would really get their attention if you made the people come down from the seats, get up from their seats and come to the stage. That means they were really, really interested in you. Faison was a really good choice, even though I'm curious as to why they chose him, but he was a really good choice. It makes me want to see more of him, his comedic side, but the fact that he's playing very, very serious, dramatic, is very, very, very well done by him. The pacing was off just a little bit when he did that. They could have let a couple of more chants go out, and then he, notices. But that's just my little contracts. So I get to spend less than $2,000. Maurice Stars. Now I wonder if that was improvised or not. It's just funny. Here he goes. Fix the collar. Star Recording Studios. Now, based off of that establishing shot of the brownstones, I wonder if his studio was in his apartment or in his brownstone or in his basement or whatever, but he had the hat on. I'm sure you guys are hilarious. That's exactly how my man used to look too. And I'm sure that you should know by this point that Maurice Starr did manage the or he signed the New Kids on the Block to a contract. This scene is fucking hilarious. Ronnie DeVoe. I feel like I've seen this kid prior too, and I just can't. I need to do that to someone. That scene reminds me. I just popped in my head right now. Just reminds me of the scene in Juice with Omar Epps' little brother comes in. All I care about. Now, to me, Ronnie was always the cat that was. He's like the dresser from the Five Heartbeats. Again, another Five Heartbeats reference. The cat that was always looking sharp, you know. Even though they say that Mike got that credit for it, I always assumed that it was Ronnie. Ronnie was always like sharp with the moves. You know, I guess he always had like a thing on his shoulder that he had to be, you know, just as good. And I also saw him as the centerpiece, which we come to, you know, it was confirmed at the end at the film for me. Shot of Brownstone. I love it when he goes, you want to handle this? Because he's not going to get involved when they start fighting. He's like, you want to handle that? Can't take them nowhere. Yo, messing him up. It's the first time I like actually noticed that he's just like hitting him. It's funny because right here he sets the tone and it just makes them all. You see a little bit of interest or / competitive nature kick in. Like, as soon as Ronnie's like, "You got anything that we could do?" And all the games stop. And a majority of these actors, these young actors right here, even the older ones, are trained, theater, theater background. I know Jahai was in The Lion King, I heard him say. But, they went out and got, "You got any parts for us to sing?" Like he wasn't playing. And then again, that martial arts discipline probably is instilled. Parents around? Your mother's so nice. It's a little. Hey man, I don't want to go there, but it's funny. Mine's too. Just like that. Now I wonder if that is Ralph's telling of Maurice doing this in his apartment, or if this is Maurice's story. Je ne sais quoi. If this is Maurice's version of what happened, because they were both, of course, everyone was interviewed and they reached out to Maurice Starr as well. And this is what, like, damn near more than 10 years in the making, I think. I believe with the same writer as well attached to it. He really does look like Sharon Leo, man. What are they gonna do? Sell a goddamn Betamax to get a house? It makes me curious if he was going to offer the same money to Ralph, or if he was going to if he was going to get everyone's money combined. Which is $2,500, $500 per person. Now this is what I find funny, is that they cast, well, it's not even funny, it's kind of typecasting, because she's acting very similar to the Best Man Holiday, and there are certain times, even this one, where I'm expecting her to take her wig off. Sorry. Which, of course, I'm sure that film played a lot into her getting that specific part. I like how they led up to this, thinking that he was gonna, or at least to me, thinking that he was gonna maybe consider doing doing the one-man show thing, but he stayed to his word. And it's funny because it's only into recent that the guys have learned that Ralph was offered this deal when they saw they saw this film and were surprised. I know Michael Bivins definitely was. Yeah, that hair is too much, man. He's got the soul glow. And they shot this in, I think, 38, might be 35, between 35 and 38 days. I thought it was pretty impressive, especially with all the rehearsals. The guys had to go to a boot camp to get the steps, and, I think it was a 30-day boot camp. It's funny because I catch them using a lot of current day terms. Well, not a lot, but some current day terms, for a film that's taking place in the 80s. But that's just me being anal. That's the cherry on the goddamn ice cream. And the Betamax machine. Mike's upset he wanted a VHS, yo. Now, Yvette Nicole Brown, I believe this is her name. I don't know if this is the same young lady that's on Community, because I've never watched Community. But I've seen a lot of Community commercials. And for some reason I thought she was heavier. Or maybe she was. Excuse me. Wow. Yes, I'm correct. She is from Community. She's a pretty ass headshot. Got hiccups. Excuse me. They couldn't sign fast enough. Excuse me. Wow. Excuse me. And Ronnie's the only one with a chick, right? Yeah, I can't really tell if that's the same girl. I don't think so now. Now I'm looking at it again. Oh, no, no, no. Biff got a little shorty on his moped. They hood famous now. That shot when they drive the bus back home is really depressing, man. Doesn't matter. Put that glum music. The other half of you don't smile. This surprised me that they had Madonna on the bill as the opening act. It would have been interesting if they had her perspective or a little cameo, but I can understand why they didn't. Now the music selection was top choice. They picked some top choice stuff, top choice cuts. Do it again. Yeah, I think this is when she was doing a holiday and a couple of joints that they were kicking or making, or classifying it as R&B. And it's meat. Is he also from what's the face? I thought he was from the Kevin Hart thing, but I dig how I didn't catch this the first time. Understand it until the second viewing. How he's actually explaining Billboard, to the viewers, and when the guys from N.E. were explaining in the interviews that this wasn't just a story about New Edition, it's really about New Edition versus the industry, and the fact that that little piece of Billboard right there sets the tone, to tell you about the industry. Now Billboard, I'm not sure if it's still around, but they judge things a little bit differently now because of the digital transition that music has taken. This is all albums and cassettes. The album and cassette era. By the time they get to Any Heartbreak, now we're looking at CDs and cassettes. I remember when this freaking track, the music video popped up on always forget the show, man. I don't know why. New York Hot Tracks. New York Hot Tracks. Now, I wonder if that blonde girl was supposed to be Madonna or not. He already macking. And he grabs him. That's hilarious. What? Oh, smiles. So sweet. Tree. Candy girl. Bobby making sure he getting his shine. I don't have no idea if this is the real Roseland, if this is a set recreation. But it's a pretty interesting build. Okay, now Wood's coming home. This is for anyone that needs to catch up. Hopefully you're watching this unedited. I mean, no commercials, unedited. No commercials. Wah, wah, wah. This don't make no damn sense. That is one of the worst outfits, ensembles. That, Now I wonder if the Newport in her hand was her choice. You know, just as a, something, a lot of mouth. I love how she's looking at her and yet supposed to be responding to him. Some money. I assume y'all gonna get some money. No damn sense. The worst. Candy girl to Miami, Florida. Ooh. Yeah, these close-ups is basically what I was talking about. They're so tight. So it had to have been a budgetary thing, I'm wondering. And as I was watching them perform earlier, something else went across my brain, which was since they're working with child actors, they had a certain amount of time that certain amount of hours that you can work with them. So maybe they couldn't get all the shots in. Chris Robinson couldn't get all the shots in, so they had to use some of these close-ups. Only reason why it bothers me because you'll see like this wide shot and you see the crowd, and then they do these close-ups and it looks like there's nothing behind them, and then they come back to the crowd. But I do like how they transition into teenagers. They're really sharp, man. I'm surprised they never really I mean, New Edition has so many songs, man. They have so many songs. Now watch. I think it's this scene right here. You'll start seeing, like, you see the crowd behind them. Then all of a sudden it just goes dark on these close-ups. See right there. There are no soft shots of the crowd. It almost seems as if there's a curtain behind them. And now they do the wide and you see that there's a crowd. That's my only pet peeve. But like I said, it could have been for the reasons that I mentioned. I don't know how old these chaps are. See, right there, it does it again. And I know that it's a setup for their transition into them getting older. But, I personally would have done it once. Morph. Boom. Brashear. It's a very interesting transition. I like how that happened. Oh, I forgot. I wanted to. It's disgusting. Take my hat off to Chris Robinson, who directed this film. Kudos, very great choice because he is known for being a music video director, and what cooler project to do, and to have these musical numbers to this is the sad part. The fact that they got this bright ass bus with Candy Girl written all over it, and they had to come back. That's crazy. Like they couldn't just park that bus in the depot and then just hopped in a cab. Well, then again, they didn't have any money for a cab. Smack in the face. I love how he handles himself in this entire scene. It's very fucking classy. Very classy. He handles himself a fucking class act, man. It made it very reminiscent of the scene where they decide to get rid of Bobby. Anyway, back to my hat tipping to Chris Robinson, and I hope he transitions to other features, and even if he stayed and did some more classy grade A, B, T projects or other projects that were for television, no fault there, because as you can see, television now is killing theatrical. Right, gotcha. And the proverbial need I say more? And they cast the fucking perfect person, Michael Rappaport. He's like a premier character actor, man. He could play frantic, he could play, worried, he could play conniving. Shit that also pisses me off. It's like, I hate seeing black people screw other black people over, and that $500 shit does not cut it. Just from a respect part of, you have these kids on planes, off planes, on buses, off buses, in some dives, as far as hotels are concerned, and just traveling back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. And, as a label, you're taking your fucking cut. And this is what you give back to them and the family. And you think that's respect? That's fucking disgusting. I don't like when anybody does it to anybody, but it's like, what we consider a black on black crime, or what I consider a black on black crime, is shitty. So whatever happens in the future to homie is what you get. I think the only difference, they couldn't really do it to New Kids because, from my knowledge, Donnie Wahlberg was producing a majority of the albums for the new kids. So a lot of that money was getting, going into his account, and he was looking after the rest of the cats, the rest of the kids on the block. Same shit. The actor Elijah Kelly, who plays Ricky, will be a shoo-in to portray Sammy Davis Jr., man. No doubt. Especially, as the story progresses and he is one where his hair is cut. I make your problems go away. I always hated that fucking song, Misled. I thought that Kool and the Gang was corny to me. This is some real coon shit right here. That's coming up. He's in charge of this whole place. It's funny because I wonder if this is some weird bullshit ritual or some shit that they do with black talent, because I thought about that fucking Soulja Boy shit with him dancing and all that old crap, and I think there was somebody else that recently was doing the same thing. So we're talking about, this is the fucking 80s, and this same shit is going on now, present day. Womp 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 womp. Brrr. MCA Records used to be part of Universal, and I think they're done. Everybody's looking at them like, what? Now, Tank is a big dude, and that blazer looks like oversized for him for whatever reason. A little bit. Or it's just maybe the camera angle or whatever. It's Mike and the questions. The setup. You're fucked, buddy. Look at Bobby in the back. Already macking on that shit. 1984. This is hilarious. I wonder if that scene that we just saw was very true, and to the point of how true was it, if he was just riding my man because he didn't like him, too tough or whatever. Like, don't they all have rooms, man? Ralphie. He smacks his hand and he smells it. One thing I noticed with stupid, it's nasty, with Bobby is it seems as if they kind of cut his hair almost in the early Gumby. It could be just me. Maybe I'm tripping out. But like I said, this is my third time watching it, and both times that I saw it prior and now looking at it again, it looks like they try to set him up with an early Gumby or whatever. Unless they shot out of sequence. Look at that shit right there, slanted. Unless they shot at it, filmed this out of sequence. That's fucked. I love how he goes, go, go, go. Where they going? Where they going? Like, shouldn't you ask that first before you send the security? At night. Houdini. Which was another hip-hop group that really doesn't get the props that they deserve, in my opinion. How many others have them? Well, this concludes part 1 of the New Edition story. And I will see you back on part 2. Mr. Telephone Man.